Hi, friends, and welcome to your last day this week of comprehension. I am excited to be talking about making inferences again. I love making inferences. I think it is so much fun, but I also really love our inferences song. So we're going to listen to it again today. Be sure you're listening to the words to see what you can learn about making inferences.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes when you're reading a story, the words are not out there for you. So being a good book detective will help you to find any clue. Feeling what's not in the book. It's taking a much closer look. Some authors narrate pictures. Some authors leave clues in their text. They give you just part of the story and want you to fill in the rest. Feeling what's not in the book. It's taking a much closer look. So when you are reading a story, be careful to read what is there. But figure out what is missing. Now you are inferring with flair. Feeling what's not in the book. It's taking a much closer look.
Remember, an inference is reading what's not in the book. That means that you're using clues to figure out what the author is not saying. That's what it means to be making inferences. It's using what you already know plus clues from the story to make a guess about what is happening. If you remember from yesterday, we looked at this picture and we made the inference that this is baby girl, Miss Ronigan's dog. We used what we already know, which is that Miss Ronigan has a dog. We used the clue in this picture, which is that Miss Ronigan is holding a dog. We made the inference that this is baby girl. That was a really good guess we made. We also made an inference about me, Miss Allen. We already knew in our brain that there is the great Minnesota Get Together, which happens in the summertime, and lots of people go to the state fair. The clue we used from this picture is that there's lots of people in the background, and I'm holding some of those delicious corn on the cobs that they serve at the state fair. So our guess is that I am at the state fair in this picture. That's a really great inference you made. We also read this short passage about animals looking for food in the fall, how they put it in a safe place to store for the winter time. We used what we know from this passage plus what we could see in this picture to make the inference that this bird is saving up these nuts in a tree for the winter so that it has some food to eat. Today, I want us to be looking at these pictures to be thinking about some inferences that we could make. Remember, an inference is a guess about what the author is not telling us. Be looking at those pictures while I read the passage. It's called Life on the Farm. A farm can be a fun place. You can run in the fields on a farm. A farm has animals to feed and care for. People work on a farm too. I'll read it one more time. Remember, be thinking of some clues that you hear and some clues that you see in these pictures to make an inference. A farm can be a fun place. You can run in the fields on a farm. A farm has animals to feed and care for. People work on a farm too. Awesome. So the very first clue that I would love for us to be searching for is that a farm has animals to feed and care for. So that's what the author is telling us. What the author is not telling us is what kind of animals we have to feed and care for. Can you look at these pictures and make an inference about what animals might be on a farm to care for? I see right here, this looks like a picture of a goat. A goat is a pretty good guess about an animal that might be on a farm. What about here? This looks like a chick. Do you think a chick would need to be cared for on a farm? I think so too. That's a pretty good inference. What about this picture? Looks like there's a cow on this farm. I think a cow is an animal that needs to be cared for. I can also use what I know in my brain about Mrs. Houselotten's farm to make more inferences. So I know that on Mrs. Houselotten's farm, they have cows. I'm going to make the inference that cows are definitely an animal that needs to be cared for on this farm. I also want us to think about what the author said about people working on a farm. Who are some people you see that might work on a farm? What are some clues you might see? Again, I'm going to use what I know about farms, and especially about Mrs. Houselotten's farm. I'm going to look at this picture right here. I know that Mr. Houselotten works with cows a lot, and he's a farmer. Here is a cow. This looks kind of like what Mr. Houselotten does. So I'm going to make the inference that a farmer would work on a farm. I think that's a really good guess. I'm also going to use what I know in my brain to think about who this person might be. Have you ever seen something like this? It's going into his ears, it's listening to the cow's belly or maybe his heart. Have you ever seen someone use one of those before? Maybe a veterinarian, an animal doctor. So what we already know in our brain is that a veterinarian would use a stethoscope to listen to the heart of a cow. So we already know that in our brain. And what we're seeing right here is a stethoscope. That's a clue. We're making the inference that a vet might work on a farm. That was a really good one. These pictures and some of these passages can be really tricky. Sometimes it's hard to make an inference, but it's always super fun and it's very important because making inferences is how we better understand what we're reading. So keep making inferences and we will go more in depth, which means we're going to learn more about inferences next week. Awesome work!